Hi, I'm Dolly with the Marriage Support Group, and today our administrator, one of the administrators with the group, Meg Carter, is here. Meg is a certified intimacy coach, and she has been volunteering in this group for a long time. So, welcome here, Meg, and thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. It's nice to be here today, and I appreciate all the things you've been doing for the group.
Thanks, Meg. It's February, it's Love Month. You being an intimacy coach, let's talk about how I've been married 25 years, and I know that there were times in our marriage, especially during having kids and, the busyness of careers and kids and schedules, we had hardly any time to sit down and talk, never mind making time to be intimate.
Yeah, usually, at the beginning of every relationship, nobody is considering, oh, there's going to be a time in our relationship where intimacy stops. And so you're looking forward, you're building yourself together. And then all of a sudden, you just realize that you're just like roommates, nothing is happening. And so a lot of times, people always think that it's what they are not doing and what they are doing. Oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. No, intimacy breakdown or intimacy stop happening when you you are not doing certain things. So that is what happens. It's it gets to a point where you just look at yourself, you are succeeding at your job, you're good parents, you're doing everything that you can to live life. And then just like that, life happens and your relationship is at the least, your relationship is the least of your concern because you are focusing on trying to get your head above waters. You have the man that sometimes will think, I provide for my family. I make sure that our car notes is paid, our mortgage is up to date, and these kids' tuitions are paid. We don't lack anything. What more does she want from me? And then you have the wife that is somewhere, she's saying, he comes home to a good cooked meal. The children are well taken care of. The house is clean and warm. And I also have my job. I help contribute to taking care of the house. What more does he want from me? And so you see that nobody is thinking, how can we make each other happen? Because the relationship is not just boring and routine.
So I completely relate to that scenario. I felt like I was doing everything that I needed to do. He came home to a clean house, often cooked meals. I'm juggling all of the schedules. I'm that domestic wife and I'm still, the career woman.
Mhm.
And the last thing I feel like doing is now being, I don't want to say a wife because I don't want to say that that's like it's my duty, but I didn't really feel like now pursuing him. Like I actually felt more frustrated with him because I was frustrated with my own schedule, my own life. So, I mean, what do you do then?
I want to use myself as an example. I remember my husband used to work out of state. And so I was back home here. And then he spends 5 days there and then 2 days here. And that 2 days is actually not 2 days because it comes on Friday in the night, maybe Saturday morning, and then he's leaving by Sunday. And so when he comes home, he's all tired. He doesn't have time. All he wants to do is rest. And then, yeah, am I wanting him for us to have a conversation, for us to cuddle, for us to do what husband and wife does. And he's sitting there telling me, I've been working all week. This is the only time I have to actually sit down and catch my breath. And so at that time, I didn't understand because I just felt like he was selfish, you know. But when I became a coach, I now understood that pe- people usually think that you need 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to actually bond. But it can be as little as 5 minutes, just sit down together on the same couch and just watch TV together while you're holding hands. Um, I work 12-hour shifts. And so when I come home in the morning, I am tired. And so I go to bed and I sleep all day. And then I wake up 2 hours before I'm ready for work. But I make sure that I spend at least 5 minutes sitting down with him and just having a conversation, that actually helps the relationship because it's just those little actions, those small things you do that actually bond couples, not any elaborate thing like I know that a lot of people will say, go for date nights. Date night will help you. There's nothing wrong with going for date nights. But date night is date night. Those little things you do at home, you cannot just go out to eat and then come back and still do the same routine at home. So find those little times, find little time together, you know, us time, even if it means in the morning you grab a cup of coffee together. If you're not the coffee drinking type, say one of you drinks coffee, you could just grab your cup of water and just sit together and just drink in silence. You're together, or you could just, when dinner time, I know that a lot of people, we are so fond of our mobile phones this day that even at the dinner table, you are scrolling and your spouse is having a conversation, you can barely hear what they are saying. But you could just do set that boundaries of keeping your phone, put on your phone down and put it on silence or do not disturb and just have that time, eat dinner with your spouse and have that good conversation. It may not be about you, but it may be about any topic, but that is little things that actually bring you both together. And so a lot of time we just find ourselves that we let technology take over our relationship. And so while we are supposed to spend that few times with our spouse, we are busy watching social media, looking at other things, except the one person that we profess to love. And so that impacts the person. The person is sitting down there all wanting to have a conversation with you, and you're busy not having the time. And so then it gets to nighttime, you want to go have intimacy with them, and they are upset already, and they put their hand and tell you, no, I'm not in the mood. And then you get angry. So these are things a lot of women want to bond with their husband, but they want to bond emotionally. They want to be able to have conversations with their husband. They want to be able to talk on anything. They want to be able to feel that love. A lot of men just think that I am doing what I'm supposed to do, go get the money and come back and then pay the bills. And the little time I have, I want to sit down and rest. Yes, you can rest with your spouse or your wife without actually having a conversation. Sit down together, maybe a head on your thighs or your head on a chest, and just touch each other. That is enough to start building that connection. You don't need to do something elaborate like maybe planning a big outing or spend a lot of money to prove that you can bond. There are little things at home. Time to have a conversation. Talk. How's your day going? What can we do? Especially for those of us, for those couples that intimacy doesn't happen anymore for them. And a lot of people say, go for date night. The question is, how is date night going to fix it? Because I will give an example. I used to remember when Tim and I used to go on date nights. We used to do that once a month, and then my weekend became crazy, and we go on date nights. Some people think that going on date night is all about the food. Hey, let's go to this fancy restaurant to go eat, and then they sit down there. You're holding your phone, scrolling. He's holding his phone, scrolling. Then it doesn't make sense. And then the food comes, one of you finish eating, and then you tell the other person, when you're ready to go, I'm ready. You didn't achieve anything. You didn't go on to that restaurant for the food. Otherwise, you could cook at home. You went there to just have time for both of you outside your home because your home is kind of a distraction. When you have a date night at home, there are so many things that can distract you. The kids may be crying and you want to go check them out, or you have something to fix in the house, or something is happening that takes the distraction from you, so you go on date night. But people just go there and eat and then stand up and start coming home. It doesn't actually fix anything. So what helps is the little things you do at home. In the morning, you get up and you give your spouse a kiss and tell them how much you love them and tell them the good quality they possess. That alone will change their outlook for the day. You know, for those of us that are busy workers, you get to work and then maybe you're going to work, your wife follows you to the car and gives you a drive safe kiss and say, baby, be careful, just drive safe. And then you get to the office and you text them and say, hey, honey, I just got to the office. That makes their day, And then you remember you send them funny memes or just send them a voice message to say, oh, honey, I just took a 2 minutes break to just send you this voice message, which is also something that helps to build that connection. So it's not something that you have to do something elaborate or big. Nobody is perfect. We they just couple just need those little tiny things. Just give me 5 minutes of your day. Let's sit down and be spouse. Just give me 1 minute of your day to tell you how my day went.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that, especially when we were really busy. I realized that we hardly ever looked at each other, like into each other's eyes. We never held each other's hands anymore. When we were going out or went out and about anywhere, it was always in like we were racing to get inside, racing to get here. Our date nights would, talk about the first child until our appies came, second child till supper, and then third child till, dessert. And then, Kate, let's go. So it was just the same pattern.
Routine.
Yeah, same routine. So, excuse me, it definitely wasn't, the date night didn't help us, but, and we had very few date nights, to be honest with you. But I do feel like, so I feel like what you're saying is that intimacy, like that, the desire for intimacy starts with the little things at home.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 minute of telling you, talking, the drive safe kiss. I would say it's really hard though for a lot of people to get to the place where they want to get there now. Sometimes there's so much water under the bridge, it's hard
Mm-hmm.
to even make that 1 minute time or to, you're so frustrated or you're holding on so much resentment that you don't want to give them, the drive safe kiss. And I would say one thing that we've heard a lot in the group is about sexless marriages, marriages that, haven't been intimate for years. I guess, what do you say to that? Like some people actually have relationships where they're not intimate anymore, and the spouse that would like to be intimate, they just kind of write it off. This is the way it has to be. And the other spouse has said, like, I don't want to be intimate anymore. I'm just done.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do in a situation like that?
Yeah, so it depends on the scenario because there are some people that they get to a certain age and the desire is no more there. And maybe it must have been due to several things going on in the marriage. Maybe they've been fighting a lot. The argument has caused them to actually have that kind of build that emotional barrier between each other. And so I used to remember like there's this sitcom that we used to watch. Everybody Loves Raymond. You see how the Raymond's parents bicker all about, and they still love each other, even though they tell each other mean things. And so some people, I think they've gotten to that point where they just like to be mean to each other and just leave it at that, and then it compromises the intimacy. But there are some people that actually have genuine reason, like medical issues, that they can actually have intimacy with their spouse. But there's a lot of people that will say, "Oh, I love my spouse so much, I don't want a divorce, even if sex is not happening." So for them, what do we advise such people? Self-care is important. Go take care of yourself um, emotionally and physically. Emotionally, you have to be able to see somebody to talk to be able to prepare your mind so that you don't always get upset because it is not happening. And then for number two, go find something that you love doing, something that keeps you busy and that you enjoy so that you spend more time doing them because as long as you don't have anything to do and you're at home with your spouse and then intimacy is not happening, you would start getting frustrated and angry. And so you don't need that frustration and anger.
So we have people coming into this group that are very frustrated because there is no intimacy in their relationship anymore. And they're hearing, here's Meg, an intimacy coach. And what she's telling me is number one, first of all, take care of myself, find something that I love to do, self-care. And then she's saying, open a conversation, do the little things to create space for conversation, maybe allocating a minute or a couple minutes a day where you can actually connect. Not necessarily anything big, as you've said. Nothing, it doesn't have to be a big date night. Doesn't have to be something, big,
Elaborate.
elaborate, but just something small. So they're going to do that. So they're going to do the self-care. They're going to get themselves into a, self-loving space. They start talking to their spouse. And now they're about to, maybe open that door to becoming intimate again. But it's been a long time, and they've been dealing with a lot of feelings of rejection or resentment. And now, I guess, what would that next step be?
When you start by holding hands, one thing with intimacy, it flows. For example, the first time that you kissed your husband when you were dating, it wasn't like, did he ask you, can I kiss you? It just flows, you hold hands and before you know, your mouth were together and you're having that thing because you were emotionally connected. All you have to do is, if you want to ask, okay, can we take it to the next level? If you are the asking type, if they say yes, go there and take it to the next level. Or if you say you want to take it slow, maybe you can start with just maybe touch, the physical touch, play, and then leave it there. And then maybe at each day passes and the closeness, the bond is becoming tighter and tighter, and then you take it to the next level. Okay, is it that time for us to take it to the next level? Yes, then you do that. And so with that, it actually helps. But the thing is consistency. For some people, they want to play along and just until sex happens and then they go back to routine. So you have to be consistent because
Mm.
if you burn your spouse, it's not going to happen anymore. So you have to be consistent. Wake up maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes or 10 minutes before the kids gets up from sleep and just have that first time. Sit down together, maybe on your dining or somewhere that is comfortable for the two of you, and just sit down and have have your coffee or have your tea or something that makes the two of you just have that time. And then, you know, play with each other. Sometimes you can share memes, have a on your phone, you can create a folder for memes and videos, funny videos that even at work, you could just like send one a day to your spouse just to make them laugh. Because laughter is one thing that actually opens you up. I know there's somebody that also commented that her husband has ED, but she misses the intercourse. And he wouldn't want to use that she has a sex toy that she uses, but he wouldn't want to participate with her. And I understand why, because most men, people don't understand what when you have ED. People don't understand what it means for a man. For a man, it's like taking away his manhood, that is no longer a man when he cannot perform down there. And so it's like putting a pressure on him when he sees you using sex toy, which is supposed to be something that he is supposed to do. And now you are doing that and you're asking him to come and help you. So I said, look, the thing you can do right now is bring back his confidence because right now he doesn't feel like a man. Bring back his confidence or direct him to somewhere he can get help to let him know that, yes, this is a medical condition. That doesn't define you. You are still who you are. And then make him know that you love him. But if you start getting upset because he has this and then you're using sex toy and he cannot help you, you're actually making him feel bad the more, or making him feel like he's not man enough to do what he's supposed to do. So you need something else to help, and you want him to use that something else to help you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up ED because it does get brought up in the group quite often. And it's one of those situations where, as a woman, you almost don't know what to do to help. It can be very frustrating. It can feel like rejection. Um, you feel also maybe like it reflects on you in some way. And so it's one of those conversations that is hard to have on both sides, not only for him because he might feel um, emasculated, as you kind of talked about,
Mhm.
or also embarrassed, humiliated, but also for the women because they feel rejected. I think that it's also really important that to mention that lack of sex or a sexist relationship, it is not the problem. It's the outcome of a problem that's much
Problem.
bigger. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so when we have posts where people are very frustrated because they have a sexist relationship, we always ask these questions about like we're trying to get deeper. And I know a lot of people are very reluctant to go deeper because when you ask these questions, male or female, we immediately tend to go to that place of defense. Hey, wait a second. I already feel like I'm a problem here, or I contribute to the problem. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be blamed for this. I don't want to have to be the person. I don't want to take responsibility for the situation. And it's not that coaches are coming and asking you, what are you doing to help? Or like Meg was just saying, what could a woman do to help? You're not saying, Meg, that this is the woman's fault.
Mhm.
And you're also not saying that it's her responsibility. But what you are saying, and what we're all saying, is that if you're here and you're wanting a better connection and to get to that root of the problem, do what you can to create the environment to facilitate that kind of connection and communication with your spouse. If
Okay.
you are doing what you can and you are being supportive to their needs or empathetic to what they're
So
going
what they
through,
could
as
do.
opposed to defensive, now you're creating connection between the two of you. Those little
Mhm.
conversations, they'll open up dialogue. They'll start to open up to you and talk to you about what's really going on. It's at the core, like that root of the problem is really what you want to get to. And
Yes.
you don't get to that root if you're so focused on the symptom, right?
Yep.
The lack of. If you're focused on the
Sex.
lack of, you can't get to that root. Whereas, so get your focus off of what you're lacking. And like Meg said, what can you do? Right?
Mhm.
First of all, take care of yourself so that you can take care of them. And then start having those moments of connection. And then, see where it goes from there. Because once you're connected, once you're united, once there's trust there, then
Mhm.
you can open up conversations and maybe seek help. Is there anything else that you'd like to say or anything that you'd like to leave our members with?
Yes, I know that a lot of time people, especially people in sexless marriage, maybe sometimes the only time they get to do something lovey-dovey with their spouse is on Valentine's Day. And then some people don't do it at all. So Valentine's Day is just one day for you to mark, to celebrate love. And you want to go out and celebrate. It's okay if you have plans for that day. But that is also a time where so many spouses are upset because their husbands didn't give them anything. So many couples should be able to actually read their spouse because your spouse, especially women, they always echo what they want. They've been saying it for months. Oh, I would like to have that shoe, or I would like to have that dress, or I would like to have so thing. They always say it out loud. So that would be a good time, Valentine's Day, for you to get it for them. If you can afford it, but get something for them. But to me, I feel like for Valentine's Day, for people that can afford it, you could actually write a handwritten love letter, something to just tell her or him how much you love them because these days we are all typing and texting. So a handwritten love letter makes it look like you actually took that effort to sit down and have those thoughts and then you wrote them down. So do handwritten love letters and give it to her that morning or to him that morning and let them read. Or spend that time uh, days before that time if you know that Valentine's Day you'll be working or you won't have time and start doing something that will actually let them know that look, I love you. Send them a text message or leave things where they can find it. Maybe they wake up in the morning, you've already helped them with breakfast in bed, or you just do something small but impactful that they will love. So Valentine's Day, I know that a lot of people will say they don't believe in Valentine's Day. Good for you if you don't believe in Valentine's Day, but every day can be a Valentine's Day for everybody. Just do those small little things that you can actually get your hand on, buy them flowers or cook for them or do something, or you and the kids can actually plan something for each other and maybe do a card, handwritten card, and take your time to draft, to write a poem on the card and give to your husband. It is a day that is carved out for love. So why not go out and show them that you love them, and at the same time also make sure that you could also celebrate, because I know a lot of women complain about, oh, oh, my husband didn't even remember it was my birthday, or they didn't give me anything for Christmas. You could also plan these special days. Plan them out, put a calendar and plan them out. Just go all out. It doesn't take you more than 2, 3 minutes to actually go somewhere, grab a card and take your time and actually write your heart on the card and give it to your wife. So these are something that you could plan, because we also want to look beyond the Valentine's Day. After Valentine, what else? No, you want to actually have this milestone. You want to actually remember the day that maybe you met, and you just say, oh, let's recreate our first meeting, or let's recreate the first time we went out, or let's recreate the first time that you wore that red dress, or that shoe, or that shirt, that striped shirt that I like. Do something that always remind you of how much you love each other. And so just plan it accordingly. It doesn't take you more time. It is something, because if you can actually do give your all to your job, you can actually give your all to your spouse, because someday you will retire and you will come back home, and you don't want to come back home to a cold home, to a cold house or a cold home. Your kids will be all grown up and they will all go live on their own. Your spouse will still be there waiting for you. The thing is, when that time comes, will you recognize that person sitting in front of you? So take your time to build that relationship, because if you noticed, a lot of time you look at people that have been married for 40, 50 years, and their children, their last child grew up and leave the house, and then they are divorcing, because now they just found out that they don't even recognize each other anymore. So we could actually plan special days, because these are the days that make it special for the two of you outside of Valentine's Day. So just go there and just show each other love. That is all you need.
Thank you so much, Meg. And also, again, thank you for everything that you do in the group, inside the group. And if you want to book a call with Meg, you can book a one-on-one with Meg, as well as she is offering a downloadable PDF of everything that we've discussed today and more. So
Yeah.
you could that will also be in the link below. Thank you so much, Meg. I really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.